What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We are set for one of the most important weeks of the entire year. The stock market was brutal on Thursday and Friday last week, and we have the biggest companies in the market set to report earnings this week. It's going to get volatile. It's going to get crazy. Before we get started, make sure to comment what stocks you guys are watching down below. Almost all the stocks that you guys comment, we end up making a video on. So make sure to leave us a comment down below. Tom, what do we have on the schedule for this week?
Yeah, Mike, it is going to be huge. Like you said, there's tons of big earnings reports coming out here. We can see even this month, there's a ton still coming out, but this week there is some big names reporting. So Monday before open, we're going to have Coca-Cola and Activision to kind of kick everything off here. Then Tuesday, we're going to have UPS, Microsoft, Google, Visa, Pepsi, 3M. Wednesday, we're going to have Boeing, Facebook or Meta, which has been huge lately, Spotify, PayPal. Then Thursday, Mike, is the big day. We're going to have Twitter, which has been in the headlines a lot. Apple, of course, which is the biggest company on the market by a market cap. We have Amazon, Intel, even MasterCard and McDonald's. So it's going to be a huge week. And guys, if you guys are going to play some earnings plays or anything like that, let me know which stock is your favorite, because we have so many big ones reporting this week. And who knows, maybe if enough people say that they like Facebook or they like Boeing, we'll make a special video about it.
True that. Tom, this is the earnings release, or the earnings week, I should say. So what company is on your radar?
So there's a lot, there's a lot. And even if you go down here, even Robinhood is kind of mixed in here. There's a lot of smaller ones that are still on the radar. Like US Steel is even going to be big with the price of commodities up a lot. But one that's really interesting to me, Mike, is going to be Facebook or Meta. I think that's going to be my most interesting stock this week. And, they've had a ton of news lately, and obviously they've been in the news in some good and bad ways. I know on their last earnings report, they had some issues with their monthly active users and stuff like that. So I hope that, their numbers come in pretty good, and they're at a great buying level right now. So that's going to be my favorite one to watch.
Yeah, that's actually going to be mine too. You kind of stole it from me. But their last earnings report was terrible for them, and their stock just got absolutely destroyed. So I know they had some worries of some slowing user growth and all that stuff. But, I guess we'll see what happens with this one, because it's going to get volatile, and the stock's all the way down to 184. And just a couple months ago, this stock was all the way at highs of, let's see, it's loading up, highs of $384, and right now it's at $184.
Yeah, that's insane. I just can't believe the way some of these big companies have been falling off to the downside. Just like we saw last week, Netflix is another company that just keeps going lower and lower. And my main worry here is that Facebook does something kind of like Netflix. I really hope they don't, though. I hope they come in with some better numbers here, and maybe their ad revenue will have an uptick or something. That might help them out. But there's a lot of other big ones too, Mike. Facebook's obviously one of our favorites, but Boeing's going to be huge. I know they've been in the headlines a lot lately. UPS has been crazy ever since COVID happened. I know that shipping and receiving and everything like that has been skyrocketing. And even Ford's going to be interesting, Mike. And we can't ever forget about Twitter either, especially with Elon buying it. I'm really curious to see what they end up talking about at that conference call there.
True. So speaking of Twitter and Elon, are there any new updates with that?
Yeah, there's nothing too crazy. I mean, there was something over the weekend where Elon Musk confronted Bill Gates about shorting Tesla, actually. It doesn't have anything to really do with Twitter, although I will say there was still that news from last week where Elon Musk was going to potentially do a tender offer to pick up Twitter shares. But either way, he ended up hitting Bill Gates over the weekend over shorting Tesla. And he pretty much said that he heard from multiple people that Gates still had $500 million short position against Tesla. So Elon tried to ask him if he still did. People were trying to say well, Elon, why are you trying to ask him about this? And Elon's trying to say well, guys, it's not a top secret or anything that he's been shorting this. And obviously we know some people have been shorting Tesla for the past few years. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening. And, Tesla had a pretty good earnings report last week, Mike. Hopefully that shows us maybe an insight into some of these bigger tech companies.
Yeah. All right. So interesting stuff there. Tom, I know it was just brutal on Thursday and Friday with the market. So many stocks tanked down. I was looking at like some of the top and most popular ones like Apple and Tesla. It's just like, what are you thinking with some of these stocks? Because it's just like brutal. It's like some weeks the market explodes up, but other times it's just horrible.
Yeah, we can see on the daily chart right now, Apple's been having a lot of problems ever since the beginning of this year. It kind of popped up recently, touched 180, and then we've been right back on the downtrend ever since the beginning of April. So it's been a really crazy market. Earnings have obviously been playing a role along with Powell and other factors like that. Obviously, rising interest rates is going to start taking a toll too. And we can see that last week, like you said, it was brutal. Apple started falling down below some major supports. They're almost down to 160, Mike, which is pretty big for them. So I hope they end up holding here with earnings coming up. But man, I'm not too optimistic. I think Apple themselves might do good, but I'm worried about all these other smaller tech companies. I feel like they might end up driving the market down. Tesla's another one. It was dipping down last week and it's kind of hovering right around that $1,000 support. So we'll have to see where these stocks go. They're at some crucial levels. And Tesla had a good report last week. Like I said, Mike, you can see on the 5-minute chart here, they actually did pretty good on, I should say like Thursday morning, but then they gave all those gains back.
Yep, for sure, for sure. All right, Tom. Do you have like any other important news or anything we should know about for the rest of the week, or anything with setups in the market or top plays or anything?
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy setups. Tesla's in a good setup. Twitter stock is still moving to the upside, which is great. It's still running. It has some momentum. It was up I should say 3.9% on Friday, but it looks like in after hours there, it started popping back up a little bit, and it was definitely higher in the middle of the day. They're almost back up to $50 even, which is huge for them. You can see on the daily chart, it's starting to like staircase itself back up. I kind of like this setup, Mike. Sometimes we see stocks go into this type of bullish setup here, and hopefully it runs back up towards this resistance around 54 or 55. I think that would make for some nice movement. And also, Mike, I wanted to bring up the airlines because they were still doing very well last week. I know they started slowing down a little bit on Friday, but they were really booming up with earnings. And who knows, maybe this will also help like some more hotel stocks and stuff like that start going up. So we definitely had some good movers last week, even though the majority of the market was falling off.
Right, there we go. So before we move on, I just want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day, SC 2020. Huge shout out to SC 2020. Thank you so much for all of your support. Thanks for being a great member of the Stocked Up Discord chat, and thanks for joining the live stream sometimes. So again, huge shout out to SC 2020. Tom and I really appreciate you. And Tom, let's get right into these momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have SE to the downside.
Yeah, see, go ahead and make them break below $87 even there.
All right, with the next one, we have Beyond Meat, also to the downside.
Yeah, poor Beyond. They just keep falling off. Go ahead and make them break below $37.30.
And with the last one, we have JP Morgan, also to the downside.
Oh, man, they're still pulling back. Go ahead and make them break below 126. That actually looks like a pretty good support there.
All right, so we're watching these three stocks for potential day trades to the downside tomorrow, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. But Tom, let's showcase that bot play, or just the bot plays from the previous week. If you guys trade options, make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. Our bot's been doing pretty dang good. Of course, it calls out some losers sometimes, but for the most part, it's pretty awesome. The bot play from Monday of last week popped for 44.62%. It was with Zoom. It went from $325 all the way up to $470. A lot of the other plays exploded up as well. You won't find our bot anywhere else. If you want to try it out, now's the time. You can cancel at any time. There's a coupon in the link in the description down below. It's awesome. You're not going to find it anywhere else. You also get access to swing trades, other custom bots, and a bunch of great other tools for options traders and bonus day trade setups from Tom. So definitely check it out. Besides that, Tom, do you have any last minute thoughts or anything you are watching for the week?
Yeah, it was really brutal last week. Like you said, a lot of stocks were down. We even had the Dow fall 3% on Friday. That was a pretty bad day. There was a pretty good article out by CNBC that shows that the Dow had its worst day since 2020, which is pretty big, and it falls for a fourth straight week. And we can see here that the Dow really fell off last week, and even on the daily chart, Mike, we can see that ever since highs, the Dow has been having a lot of issues rising. And as we know, a lot of the bigger companies in the market are in the Dow. Of course, the S&P 500 and the SPY has been super popular lately, but we can't forget about the Dow. You know, it's huge, and it was down 3% Friday. We had the SPY even down 2.7%. We had the QQQ down 2.6%. So the market's definitely having a big pullback here. Hopefully the bleeding stops soon, but it definitely seems like it's pointing down heading into this week. So hopefully we see some good movement with earnings, but man, we're going to need some nice reports or else the market might keep selling off here because it's getting brutal, Mike. And I know that some of these poor stocks like Square, Facebook, Chewy, stocks like that, anything in the growth sector lately has just been getting hit really hard.
Alrighty, there we go. If you guys like today's video, make sure to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day, and we have a bunch of amazing things planned for the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Besides that, let's have a great week.